It was a bone-freezing night in the winter of 1459. Edirne lay buried beneath a white, breathless silence. Snow piled against the palace walls like frozen waves. Inside those vast halls, where marble floors usually echoed with the brisk steps of soldiers and servants, there was an eerie stillness, as though the entire palace had paused to listen. Suddenly, the scream of a newborn broke through the icy quiet, sharp and bright like the crack of a sword drawn from its sheath. The midwife, trembling slightly from cold and awe, lifted the tiny infant into the waiting arms of Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror. For months the Sultan's face had been carved from the same granite resolve that won empires, but in that moment, as the infant's warm breath touched his wrist, a rare softness flickered in his eyes. His stern mouth curved, just barely, into a fragile smile. "This boy shall be named Cem," he whispered, as though declaring destiny itself. A living portrait of beauty. The child's mother, Çiçek Hatun, only 17 and still carrying the delicate innocence of girlhood, let out a choked sob. Her silver blonde hair, braided in the style of Serbian princesses, clung to her cheeks, damp with tears of joy and exhaustion. She had been many things in her short life: a captive, a concubine, a stranger in a foreign palace. But now she was a mother. She cradled Cem for the first time, unaware that this tiny, fragile being, warm against her chest, would one day be condemned to a lifetime of captivity, and that the hands that would push him into that abyss would be her own. When Çiçek first arrived at Topkapı Palace as a war captive, she had imagined that the harem would be full of rivals, but she discovered only one enemy, and she was far more dangerous than armies: Gulbahar Hatun, the dignified, silent mother of Prince Bayezid. Gulbahar rarely spoke, but her silence carried more power than the most vicious scream. Her cold gaze could slice flesh. And one day, while passing Çiçek with calculated grace, she leaned close and released a single whisper, only one, that would poison years of Çiçek's life. "You are a foreign slave. No matter how charming your son becomes, he will always be second. The throne belongs to the elder son." The words stung like venom, and venom thrives. Whenever anyone praised little Cem, saying his smile resembled Mehmed's or that the Sultan's fierce brilliance glimmered in his eyes, Çiçek felt the old wound burn deeper. Whenever the Sultan took Cem with him to royal hunts, while Bayezid sat quietly with his tutors and books, Çiçek would feel Gulbahar's shadowed smile brush against her like a curse. A silent reminder: your child is a threat, and threats are destroyed. Because of Mehmed's strict command, Cem grew up not with Çiçek, but alongside Bayezid under Gulbahar's roof. The intention was noble, to prevent rivalry, but for Çiçek it was torment. Night after night she watched her son laugh freely in another woman's lap, his head resting on Gulbahar's shoulder, as though she, not Çiçek, were his real mother. And every night, after the harem lamps dimmed, Gulbahar would sharpen new whispers in Çiçek's ear. "When the Sultan dies, if Cem takes the throne, Bayezid will not survive a week, and neither will you. Only the elder son lives. Think of your future. Save yourself while you still have time." Fear became a drumbeat in Çiçek's heart. Resentment became her constant breath. Jealousy, her shadow. Then came May 3rd, 1481. Sultan Mehmed, the conqueror of Constantinople, collapsed on a mud-soaked road, his final breath taken beneath a gray and merciless sky. By sunset, the news had reached Topkapı Palace. The harem grew deathly still. Çiçek was standing alone when the black-robed eunuch knelt before her and whispered the words that shattered her son's destiny. Her face did not tremble. Her lips did not part. Not a single tear escaped her eyes. Instead, with chilling calm, she walked to the heavy cedar doors and slid the large iron bolts herself. She ordered all the palace keys hung around the chief eunuch's neck. No one was to enter, no one to leave. Then she wrote a few hurried words on perfumed paper, stamped it with green wax, and sent the message racing through the night. "Bayezid, my lion, ride without stopping. Your brother is in Bursa. Save us." Far away in Bursa, at sunrise, Cem arrived like a promise. His name thundered in the Friday sermon. His tugra glimmered on newly minted coins. Crowds roared, "Padishah, Long live our king. He felt destiny brushing his fingertips, close, warm, almost his. But at Topkapi, destiny had already been rewritten. Rain soaked his royal robes as Cem galloped back to Istanbul. When he reached the palace gates, water dripping from his hair and beard, he slammed the hilt of his sword against the door, shouting, "Mother, my mother, open the door! Your Cem has returned!" Behind the golden lattice, Chichek stood frozen. Her tears streamed freely, but her fingers never touched the latch. In one agonizing instant, 23 years of humiliation, fear, and Gulbahar's poisoned whispers exploded inside her like a storm she could no longer control. "If Cem becomes sultan," she murmured to herself, "then Gulbahar will be proven right, and I will be nothing. But if Bayezid wins, I will be Valid Sultan, and Gulbahar will rot in the old palace." The door remained closed. By dawn, Bayezid's soldiers flooded the city. Cem, betrayed and bewildered, fled with only 40 loyal followers, his heart shattered not by enemies, but by the woman who gave him life. Years later, imprisoned on Rhodes, he sent a single letter. "Mother, am I not your son?" The letter reached her. Chichek fainted, but she never wrote back. Soon, other women seized hold of Cem's fate. Each had her own reasons to break him. Bilbil Hatun, Bayezid's powerful wife and the true architect of the harem's politics, sent 40,000 gold coins each year to the west. Keep him alive, keep him comfortable, but never let him return. When the Knights of Rhodes grew tired of their prized prisoner, Bulbul struck a new deal, this time with the most powerful man in Christendom, the Pope. In the papal court, Cem was dressed in shimmering gold, mounted on a white horse, and paraded before cheering crowds who imagined he might one day reclaim Constantinople for them. But 3 nights later, he vanished into the silent stone bowels of Castel Sant'Angelo. There he met Vanozza de Catane, confidant of the Pope, advisor, and mother of the infamous Borgias. She showered him with Persian carpets, French wine, and books in 7 languages. But each night, she slipped a single drop of poison into his cup, not enough to kill, but enough to crack his spirit inch by inch. At midnight, she would glide into his chamber, dressed in black velvet, her perfume sweet and suffocating. "Your brother sends 45,000 gold to keep you locked away," she would murmur. "Your mother sends jewels, so you never again breathe Ottoman air. You are Europe's most precious prisoner. My beautiful prince." Cem begged for freedom, for battle, even for death. Every plea was dismissed with a laugh. In 1494, when the King of France invaded Italy and demanded Cem as a bargaining chip, the Pope panicked and sold him once more. Now the prince, once admired for his beauty, traveled in a sealed carriage. His silver hair had turned to frost. His wrists were scarred by chains. The bright emerald glow in his eyes was dimming. In the forgotten Turkish of his childhood, he whispered, "Mother. Mother, why did you abandon me?" On February 25, 1495, in a borrowed palace in Naples, he drank a final, deadly cup. A priest was summoned. Cem clutched a tiny silver Quran he had hidden for 14 years and murmured, "Bind me forever in iron. Just don't let me see another Turk again." He died calling for the mother who sold him, remembering the brother who purchased his chains, and longing for a homeland stolen from him by 3 women. His body was paraded across Europe for 4 long years. Finally, in 1499, Bayezid paid the last ransom and brought him home. Chichek Hatun did not attend the funeral. Under her pillow were found only 2 relics: the tiny handkerchief Cem played with as a child and the pearl that had fallen from his newborn lips, now stained by tears. 3 women achieved what no army could. A mother who sold her son to cleanse her old humiliation. A sister-in-law who spent rivers of gold to keep hatred alive, and a courtier who shattered his spirit before his body died. Today, Cem's delicate golden chains rest in the Vatican. So fine they resemble jewelry, so cruel they broke the soul of a lion. And if this tale has torn your heart apart, prepare to meet Mihrima Sultan, daughter of Suleiman the Magnificent, wife of Rustem Pasha, the woman who burned half an empire for love and drowned the other half in blood for power. The real storm is still ahead.